Hello, everyone. We are continuing our measurement work, moving on now to lesson 13-5. We are going to be continuing with the metric units of measurement. So just to do a quick review, we have studied all of the customary units of measurement, the ones for length, the ones for capacity, and the ones for weight. We're now working in the metric system, and the last two math lessons were spent reviewing the metric units of measurement for length. We're now going to get into the last of the metric units, okay? These units work for both capacity, weight, and something else that we are going to call mass. Okay. Remember we talked about how the metric system is used a lot in science. In science, we don't necessarily focus on weight as much as we do mass. Okay. So here's some things to think about. When we're thinking about capacity, we're talking about the amount of liquid that an object can hold. When we're talking about weight, we're talking about putting something on a scale to find out how heavy it is. When we're talking about mass, we're getting really scientific. Mass is how much matter is in an object, how many atoms and molecules and all of those scientific things, how much of that makes up an object. Okay, so just a way to think about mass. If you think about a bowling ball and a soccer ball, they're both about the same size, but the bowling ball is going to weigh a lot more. Well, why does it weigh a lot more? Because it has more mass. A bowling ball is made of a thicker, harder material, and it's not really hollow on the inside. A soccer ball has air on the inside, so it has less mass. Okay, so mass is how much matter is in an object. So you're going to need to be thinking about capacity, weight, and mass all together as we go through this next lesson. So words that you're going to need to be familiar with are liter and milliliter, gram, milligram, and kilogram. So really, if you can remember liter and gram, all of the other words that you need are built from that. So to help you understand this, we're first going to talk about liters and milliliters. And as you can see, we're dealing with liquids here. So we're going to think about these for capacity, how much liquid a container can hold. Okay, you all are very familiar with a liter, whether you realize it or not. A liter is a water bottle. Okay, not a big, huge soda bottle, but just your average normal sized water bottle. That's a liter. Okay, a milliliter means it's going to take a lot of those little teeny tiny things to make up that full water bottle. So think of a milliliter as in being like the liquid that goes into a tiny spoon. Okay, now you're going to need to know conversions here. Okay, so when we're talking milliliters to liters, you'll see in your math book there is a conversions chart. Okay, but what I want you to remember is that it takes 1,000 milliliters to make up a liter. Okay, so obviously milliliters are really small. Okay, so liter, bottle of water, milliliters, spoonfuls of water. Okay, all right, the other terms that you're going to need to know are milligram, gram, and kilogram. So you'll notice here everything is based around the word gram. Gram, we're talking about weight or mass. Think about a large paper clip or a stick of gum. Both of those would weigh or have the mass of about a gram, okay? Pretty tiny, but not as tiny as a mosquito. A mosquito would be a milligram, okay? A kilogram is obviously getting heavier because a kilogram would be like a dictionary or a cantaloupe, okay? So let's do some work with these units of measurement. So in your math book, find page 703. Let's work through the solve and share together. Remember, anytime you need to, pause the video. Okay? All right, so here's the situation. Jenny has 3 liters of water. I'm wondering how many of you just got a mental movie of 3 bottles of water. How many milliliters of water does she have? And what is the mass of the water in grams? Now, don't let that intimidate you. We can do this. Okay, so what do we know in this situation? Well, we know she has 3 bottles of water. Okay, and you're going to see in this box right here, your math book gives you some very helpful information. So we have 3 bottles of water. Each one weighs a liter. We know there's 1,000 milliliters in each bottle. So if we're trying to figure out how many milliliters are in 3 bottles, well, 3 bottles, 1,000 milliliters in each one. Set up an equation, then use the zeros trick. Basic fact is 3 times 1, which is 3. Stick on the zeros, and we know that 3,000 milliliters is the 3 bottles of water, okay? So we answered the first question of how many milliliters of water does she have. Then the problem asks, what is the mass of the water in grams? Okay, so think about this. Pay attention right here. 1 liter of water has a mass of 1 kilogram or 1,000 grams. So we have 3 water bottles. Each one of those water bottles has a mass of 1,000 grams. Well, wait a second. We kind of just did the same thing, only this time it's 3,000 grams. Okay? So as you continue working through these, remember on the visual learning page, you have a conversions chart here to help you. It goes from liters to milliliters, okay? And I want you to notice the abbreviations here, okay? Liter has an uppercase L, okay? We do that so you don't get confused between the number 1 and the letter L, okay? So that's why it's an uppercase L. So liter is an uppercase L, milliliters. We go from grams to milligrams, so you can see G and mg, and kilograms, kg, okay? So let's try a couple more situations together. Let's go to the guided practice section. We're going to skip over number 1 for now, and let's look at number 2. We're going from grams to milligrams. So use your conversions chart. On the conversion chart, we see 1 gram has 1,000 milligrams. Okay, so let's think about that. If we have 6 grams, there's 1,000 milligrams in each one. Use the zeros trick after you write your equation. 6 times 1 is 6. Stick on the zeros. I have a feeling a lot of you could be doing this mentally. And your answer is, sorry, that's a messy 6, 6,000. Okay, let's look at number 3. We're going from liters to milliliters. Go to your conversion chart. 1 liter has 1,000 milliliters. So we have 9 liters. There's 1,000 milliliters in each one. Zeros trick. And we get the answer of 9,000. Okay? Notice you're working with 1,000 for most of these. So here's what we want you to work on. For your independent practice, we want you to complete numbers 4 through 11 on page 705. So numbers 4 through 11. And then on the back, try 14, 16, and 17. If at any point you're unsure of yourself, reach out to your teacher. Let us know if you need help.